Good morning, my friends. Good morning. I'm kind of feeling awesome that I'm doing this thing. Welcome to Leading In with Ann, where things that are in my head, I talk about, I sort through. You guys get to listen to my brain, and we kind of feel some things out together. We're wrapping up. All week, I've talked about gratitude because I would love for myself to be really prepared for Thanksgiving. And there's all this gratitude around. And I just want to change it so that I'm actually feeling grateful. So we talked all about the difference between gratitude and guiltitude. So we're going to wrap that up today. We're going to talk about how gratitude in advance, what that looks like, what that is, what our hangups are, and why it's the secret sauce to all sorts of things. So stay tuned to that. Those of you who don't know me, I'm Ann Ferguson, and I am an author and a grandma and a mom. I'm a mindset trainer. I'm a business owner, and I've written 3 courses. And the flagship course is Igniting Your Belief. And that is because we all have holes somewhere in belief, whether it's belief in ourselves or belief in God, belief in our dreams, belief in other people. There's belief, right? So it's a 12-week course, and it's with me and with the people that I have trained. And it's a weekly, great big hybrid between a small group coaching, peer learning, because we talk on Marco Polo back and forth, and individual mentoring. So when I need to, I jump on with you one-on-one to help you just sort through the things. So some of you have been mindset students, and there may be something a little bit missing. You're not sure why things aren't going like you think they should be. What's wrong with you? Well, I tweak that and I say, oh, it's right here. Here's what it is. So sometimes coaching is great to get you the program, but I'm a mentor. So mentor walks with you and shows you, because, oh, I see this. It's right here. Just tweak this belief. If you just tweak this understanding, if you just do this little thing, I think it's going to align for you. If you want to do it another way, please do. But this is what I see. That's what a mentor does. So I love mentoring, and I love what I do. All right. So let's do some groundwork. Gratitude versus guiltitude. Most of us have not felt, or we're not taught to feel, gratitude. Instead, we're taught to feel guilty about somebody's sacrifice, their suffering, their efforts expended. Guiltitude is what we were taught. We have gone over what that looks like. And so go to day 1 about what the guiltitude is, how it shows up. We have talked about sacrifice and what pure sacrifice looks like versus obligation. So we talked about obligation. And we also talked about the fact that pure gratitude stems from being able to recognize, and the bigger thing is receive. Receive the love that is offered, the effort that is expended in your behalf, the thoughts that somebody has for you. It's really all love. And even if somebody is not giving in love, they're actually giving with strings attached kind of stuff, you can still receive. You can receive the fact that they may not know how to give purely and freely, but you can always receive with purity. So we talked about all that. Now we're going to go forward. There is a principle that is not discussed a lot with gratitude, part of a mindset principle, and that is having gratitude in advance of receiving. So when I first heard this, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, that's really presumptuous. Like, thank you, Daddy, for the pretty pony. When my parents can't even put food on the table, right? Like, I don't know, it felt spoiled, And if I was thinking in advance, now they're obligated to satisfy my anticipation and my vision and all that. So it felt really, really wrong. But I'm going to tell you something else that felt wrong. Dreaming felt wrong. Even wanting something more than what I already had, because I was taught that if I wanted more, then I was ungrateful. I wasn't satisfied. That's what I was taught. And so that whole, I don't know the whole thing, but use it up, wear it out, or do without something kind of thing. Yeah, that was part of my upbringing. So to want more when I still had, and I hadn't used it up or worn it out yet, felt there were conflicts, right? And while that scrappiness and that ability to really be resourceful, absolutely a vital thing, it's missing an element. We can be exactly where we are, so grateful for the things we have, feeling loved, and we can desire more. Why? Because there's this principle of eternal progression kind of thing, you know. And we got to learn how to enjoy what we have. So there's a pride cycle that can happen. That is, you get all the things that you want and then crash, burn, because you get so focused on your things that you love. What is the secret recipe for those civilizations that don't crash and burn when they get prosperous? Is they have gratitude for all that he has. And they're still moving forward. It's interesting, right? So I want to connect you with this principle of being grateful in advance. And how I'm going to do that is have you think for just a minute about something that now that you look back on, say 3 months ago, 6 months ago, is there anything right now in your life that you can see God was orchestrating before today? And whatever blessings are coming today. Like, is there anything he was doing? I will tell you so much about this walk and talk. And I have been doing some branding work and some business kind of work, and I connected to my dance training. And what I do with students who come from a local dance studio and don't have proper technique, and how I can go in and I can see, and I can help them tweak the technique so that they can really perform, because if posture alignment isn't there, they're not actually dancing correctly, and there's a lot of injuries, and I can see exactly what they need to tweak. Guess what? I do that with mindset. Like he was preparing years ago. So question again, think, is there anything that is happening for you right now that you feel blessed and grateful in that was prepared and orchestrated without your knowledge by God and some unseen help? Okay, you got it? If you do, comment on what that was, because you need to get solidified in that possibility. Why? Because he is doing something right now for you that you are going to receive, experience 3 months from now. If he was doing things before that you weren't aware of, is it possible that he's doing things now that you are not aware of? So one of the ways that my husband and I pray is the thought that, gratitude is something we do for prayer, right? Thank you so much for this and this and this. And thank you so much for all the things we don't know about that you're doing on our behalf right now. Like that connection to gratitude in advance is so good. Thank you for all the things you've done now and everything in advance. Now, do you know that there are examples of this in scripture? It's true. So there's a group of people, Israelites, who are going to go into a land, and it's so fun. And they're like, thank you so much for the milk and honey. Thank you so much for the war and the way you protected us. They hadn't even fought yet. Those who are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, in the Book of Mormon, we have Father Lehi. He's been commanded to leave Jerusalem right before the takeover where Babylon takes everybody over that we know about in Jeremiah in the Bible. And he's had this vision, and you see him out in the desert, out in the wilderness. His family's struggling. And he says, thank you so much for my promised land. I'm so grateful that you have saved us and that we get this promised land. I remember reading that one day and going, I do not understand. Like, does he not get that his kids are trying to kill each other? Like, why is his brain out there? 2/3 of that book talks about thank you so much for a savior, a Messiah, who is here to come to help us, to save us, to really just redeem us. Like, thank you so much that I don't have to be in this thing. Do you know 2/3 of that book they're saying that, and he has not even been born yet? It's an interesting thought, right? That gratitude in advance of something that feels so right in your heart is actually appropriate. Now, let's go back into the gratitude for the now and why this matters and how it applies to creation. When you look back 3 months ago and you connect with something that he did for you, and you can feel that love. Remember, you got to receive so that you can feel grateful. You can't feel grateful without receiving love. So you're going to receive the love, the person, the circumstance, the opportunity. You feel the love that is in that, right? Just feel it. And what that does for us is we go, oh, God is real. God is like helping me. Wow, I can see that he did that and he did this and he did that. And I'm not going to just see it. I'm going to breathe it in. Breathe it in and feel it again. And just go, I feel so loved right now. And when you have that emotion in you of that love and gratitude for what has been done without your knowledge, you'd have to know how to do it like he was doing how all along. We can connect to that. Now we connect to what you would love in the future. And possibility is now what is in your body instead of doubt. We have a tendency, many of us, myself included at times, to pray with worst case scenario in our heart. Our mind, we go, please bless it, this will happen. And in our heart, we're like, probably not going to happen. But I need it to happen. And we plead and we beg. And all the time, our heart is just with all of the impossibility, the sadness. Part of that is if you grew up not having someone who emotionally knew how to support you in your feelings, which is the vast majority of us, because we were all taught to suck it up, buttercup, get it done, don't feel. The adult thing is to know how to push those feelings to the point of oblivion so that you are not aware. It's not that you don't feel, you always feel. But we have been taught not to be aware of our feelings. That is true. So if we're taught not to be aware, we're also taught not to feel loved, like actually receive it. We're taught not to feel confident because that's prideful. Now you're prideful. Do you see it? So if you have a hard time accessing an emotion, it's totally okay. But you can do it with a memory. You can go back and say, when's the last time I felt this? We can attach that feeling like we do every morning in advance of our day and say, thank you so much. Why? Because we have taken the time to breathe in how loved and supported we actually are, and possibility, and understanding that we do not have to be in crisis for God to help us. We don't have to have anybody else on this planet. They don't have to agree and or support what we're doing. They don't have to even believe. If you and God are doing a thing, nobody has to believe you. Happens to me all the time. I've surrounded myself with people who know how to believe. So that's fun. But I have the ability to see what he's done in my past, even if it was yesterday. So I was so tired. It was a busy day. And I shut down, power down. I'm like, I'm just feeling weak and tired. I had some food and went, all right, what do I need? I really need to get this done. And I went, no. Bath. I went upstairs, turned on that bath, and my husband had bought some really cool bubble bath for me. And I was so grateful in that moment that I had that kind of special, not just a bath, but I had a special take care of me moment. I felt gratitude for hot water. I literally sat there, just breathed it in. The technology, the pipes underneath the ground that brings it to my house, the heater, and all of the things that we have learned how to do as humans, because God has inspired us so that I could have a hot bath. Like, I connected with all of that and the love that's there. Now, if I can connect to that, everything's possible. That's why gratitude is step one in prayer. Not because God needs your thanks. I'm going to say that again. For God, He does not need your praise to know that He is a really good God, that He has His character does not need to be validated by your thanks. Ever thought about that? Why do we praise God? Why is that a thing? Because it ignites belief in us that He's going to do things for us again, that He's aware, that He's present. Our gratitude for Him is not for Him. It is to lift your mind and your heart into a frequency where your answers lie. Because if you're sitting in discouragement and despair, it's okay that you're there. It's okay that you feel it. But your answers are not going to be on the frequency of discouragement. At least not the answers that you want. Otherwise, they're going to move you forward. So if you have the ability to do this gratitude in advance thing, the answers, the solutions, the steps, all the things that will bring that into actual existence is right there. So how do you get to belief? Well, you can believe in all of the times that it sucked. You can believe in all the times that you believed and it didn't work. And you can attach your absolute belief that that is true. I pray to God and He doesn't show up. Question: when you're praying before, did you pray with belief? Did you pray with excitement and anticipation for the thing? Sometimes that's hard when you're in deep crisis, right? But it hasn't happened yet. Neither has the good thing happened yet. We have an enemy, speaks to our mind. He tells you that if you believe in the positive thing, that's not reality. And you better brace yourself because something nasty's coming. So really, really worry about all the things that are coming so it doesn't blindside you. When you sit with those lower vibration emotions, heaven doesn't help you the same way. You can ask for them to help with the anxiety, and they will. But to know how to exit that spin and start creating with power and with grace is something that is taught in the Igniting Your Belief program that I do. So if your brain is kind of caught with this and going, oh, this is a new concept, I would love to know more about this. I want to know how to do this. And I want to do it with God. It's not just law of attraction. Law of attraction works. It does. It doesn't mean it's always for your benefit and good, ultimately. I love co-creation, working with God, because when I do it for Him, He overblesses me, gives me way more than I thought. He opens up opportunities. Before I started the live, I found out about an opportunity that's in front of me that is way bigger than I ever anticipated. I couldn't have known how this connection with somebody was going to play out. And if I had known how much is in play and how much potential is here, I might have been in a little bit of imposter syndrome and I probably wouldn't have had the conversation. God knew that. So He put everything into play. What would you love to feel? You've got enough time to create Thanksgiving in a new and different way and be grateful in advance. Feel His love. Feel all the things that He's trying to do for you. Feel all of the possibility in front of you. And listen to every single little thing that comes. Every little step that comes as you work towards your Thanksgiving, and witness God's hand. Just witness Him. It's going to be super great. All right, everybody. We'll see you later.